You've been writing the same 5 lines of code over and over again, copy-pasting them every time you need them. There's a better way, and once you learn it, you'll never go back. Welcome. Today we're breaking down one of the most powerful concepts in Python programming, functions. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what functions are, how to create them, how to pass information into them, how to get results back out of them, and how to use something called default parameters to make your code incredibly flexible. Let's get into it. Section 1. What is a function and why should you care? Imagine you work at a coffee shop. Every single morning, you follow the same routine. Grind the beans, add the water, press brew, pour the cup. You don't reinvent coffee from scratch every day. You follow a process. Functions in Python work the same way. A function is a reusable block of code that performs a specific task. You define it once, and then you can use it as many times as you want, anywhere in your program. Why does this matter? Without functions, your code becomes a massive wall of text. It's hard to read, hard to fix, and nearly impossible to share with other people. Functions solve all of that. They keep your code organized, reduce repetition, and make debugging so much easier because when something breaks, you know exactly where to look. Here's a simple example. Let's say you need to greet every user who logs into your app. Without a function, you'd write the same greeting message 5, 10, maybe 100 times throughout your code. With a function, you write it once, give it a name, and call that name whenever you need it. Clean. Efficient. Professional. So now you know what functions are. But how do you actually build one from scratch? Section 2. Defining a function in Python. Creating a function in Python is simpler than most beginners expect. You start with the keyword def, which stands for define. Then you give your function a name. Then you add a pair of parentheses and a colon. Everything inside the function is indented, which is Python's way of knowing what belongs to that function. Let's look at a real example. You type def greet underscore user and then a colon. On the next line, indented, you write print with the message, "Hello, welcome back." That's it. You've just defined your first function. But here's the thing. Just defining it doesn't run it. You have to call it. To do that, you simply write greet underscore user with parentheses at the bottom of your code. The moment Python sees that, it jumps up to your function definition and runs everything inside it. A few naming rules to keep in mind. Function names should be lowercase, and if the name has multiple words, connect them with underscores. This is called snake case, and it's the standard convention in Python. Names like calculate underscore total or send underscore email are clean and readable. Names like x1 or thing that does math are not. This is the foundation, but functions become truly powerful when you start feeding them information, and that's where things get really interesting. Section 3. Parameters and arguments. Right now, our greet underscore user function says hello, welcome back to every single person the same way. What if you wanted to actually use someone's name? That's where parameters come in. A parameter is a variable you place inside the parentheses when you define the function. It's like a placeholder. When someone calls the function, they pass in a real value, called an argument, and that value fills the placeholder. Here's how it works. You change your function definition to def greet underscore user with the word name inside the parentheses. Then inside the function, you use that name variable in your print statement. Something like hello, and then the name. Now when you call the function and pass in the argument Sarah, it prints hello Sarah. Call it with Marcus and it prints hello Marcus. One function. Infinite flexibility. You can also have multiple parameters. Just separate them with commas. For example, a function that adds 2 numbers would have parameters called num1 and num2, and inside it would return or print their sum. The order matters. Whatever you pass in first goes to the first parameter, and so on. Now here's the important distinction to remember. Parameters live in the function definition. Arguments live in the function call. Mixing those two terms up is one of the most common beginner mistakes. But don't worry, that confusion disappears with practice. Speaking of getting things out of a function, let's talk about return values. Section 4. Return values. So far, our functions have been doing things and printing results. But what if you don't want to just print something? What if you want to actually use the results somewhere else in your program? That's what the return statement is for. Think of a function as a little machine. You put raw material in through the parameters. The machine processes it. And then it hands you back a finished product through the return statement. Without return, the machine just throws the product away after it's done. Let's say you write a function called square_number with a parameter called num. Inside the function, you write return num times num. Now when you call square_number with the value 5, the function hands back 25. You can store that in a variable, use it in a calculation, print it, or pass it into another function. The result is now yours to work with. This is a critical concept because it separates functions that just display things from functions that actually compute and produce useful values. In real-world programs, most of your functions will return values rather than just printing them. Printing is for testing and showing users information. Returning is for building logic. Here's a question to sit with. What happens when a function doesn't have a return statement at all? The answer might surprise you. But first, let's cover one more concept that will make your functions incredibly smart. Section 5. Default parameters. What if you want a function to work, even when the person calling it forgets to pass in an argument? That's exactly what default parameters solve. A default parameter is a value you assign directly in the function definition. It acts as a fallback. If the caller provides an argument, that argument gets used. If they don't, the default kicks in. Here's an example. You define a function called make_coffee with a parameter called size, and you set its default to the string medium. If you call make_coffee with no arguments, it makes you a medium coffee. If you call it with large, it makes you a large one. Simple, clean, and flexible. The rule is that default parameters always go at the end of your parameter list. If you mix them in front of regular parameters, Python gets confused and throws an error. Keep defaults at the end and you'll be fine every single time. Defaults are incredibly useful when you're building functions that most people will use in a standard way, but you still want to give advanced users the option to customize. And that's your complete foundation for Python functions. You now know how to define them, name them properly, pass in data with parameters and arguments, get results back with return values, and set up smart defaults. These 5 concepts work together every single day in real Python code. If this video helped you, hit that like button. It genuinely helps other learners find this content. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video, where we're diving into scope, which is all about where your variables live and why they sometimes disappear on you. Drop a comment below with one question about functions. I read every single one. See you in the next one.